We are currently riding through a tunnel that goes underneath Manchester Airport. So right now there's planes landing above my head. I'll take it off. But good morning, welcome back to the vlog. The first training session back in the UK since we got home from Spain or France. Yesterday was a rest day. Still doing a fairly easy ride today, a couple of hours. We're not doing any efforts or anything. Just getting back into the swing of things, my favourite word. Still feeling a little bit cooked from all the racing and all the travelling. It really does take it out of your legs more than you think. But yeah, we're back in the UK, back riding. You do take for granted how smooth the roads on the continent are compared to the UK. They are horrendous. But I'm going to stop complaining because it's sunny and it is currently the hottest September, the hottest February on record ever.
It all started with Colombia. But sending your demo to a major label at 16 will humble ya. I opened the mail and stumbled upon a reply. Fumbled to get it open, I read it then wondered why. They said they were not interested, I'm shocked they took out the time to send me a letter back, 'cause the music was pretty whack. I kept it still all intact, I bet it matter of fact. Few years later, Rockets 50 said they'll put it on the map.
Alright, so it's now actually the following day. I did my ride at Monica's house and drove home in the afternoon, and that was kind of it. I've got a lot of things to sort out at the minute, just with being back in the UK. That's just an excuse that I'm making for not providing it and then providing any content today. But it's not too much of a bad thing because you've watched the build-up, you've watched the racing and everything of the E-National qualifying round on Zwift that I did a few days ago when I was still in France. I officially got the email yesterday to say that I had qualified. So even though I finished 12th on the race, two guys who crossed the line in the top 10 are not going to the Zwift finals for one reason or another, which doesn't really matter to me. Doesn't really matter to me the reason. Basically, the fact of the matter is that it's so cool to qualify for the Zwift finals. I guess it's the first time that I've really got on board with Zwift racing. If you watch the stream, if you haven't watched the stream, I'd recommend you go and check it out, or even just watch the last 20 minutes of the race. You'll see that it got pretty grippy in places. It's not easy by any stretch of the imagination. There was, I think, 600 guys that entered this qualification round. So to finish top 10 or 12th in that race was, I'm gonna say I'm pretty happy with myself. I'm happy to achieve that result, and we're all stations go for the final now in London, which is going to be in a month or two time. I'm not sure if there's been an official announcement for it yet. I think the way it's going to work is everyone's going to be at the same place on the same turbo trainer. We're all going to get a weigh-in, officially weighed in, so no one's going to be able to weight dope or anything. I'm not sure how the race is going to be formatted, but I am going to be documenting the journey, of course, on this YouTube channel, so stay tuned to follow along to that. But for those of you that didn't catch the live stream the other day, or you haven't watched the video of it, the video's gone live after the event had finished. I want to take you from the bridge, which is the start, or just before the start of the final reverse KOM. Now I knew this was going to be a hard one because we come out of the tunnel about 2k prior, and normally it's quite a hard kick out of the tunnel, but I barely went into orange numbers, and this just shows everyone's a little bit nervous and a little bit anxious for the reverse KOM that is about to come up. So this group is whittled down to about 20 guys now. It's everyone who you expect to be in this group: the Madison Riders, Kim Little, the Zwift All-Star, Steve Young, Pat Christopher, the notoriously well-known Zwift riders. Ed Laverack's still in this group, my Wahoo Cycling Hub teammate. So it kicks them down to 3%, and you can see they were doing well over 600 watts. My heart rate's jumping up to 180, 185, and it's, we're going hard up this climb. If you can see on the top right, you can see all the little blobs, and it is strung out. Bearing in mind this race is double draft, which basically means it's easier to sit in the wheels. So essentially you're almost getting a draft even uphill due to the speeds that we're doing. So it's much easier to sit in the wheels, and it's still being strung out. So I had a feather there. You saw me pop it. I used it on the steepest part of the climb, which I think was for this in this moment, it was the best thing to do. Now that I've used it, I'd used it and stayed in the front group. I don't think I would have got dropped from the front group had I not have used it, but I wanted to gamble in trying to use my feather in order to try and get an aero power up for the sprint finish. After this point, after this climb, I had 2 points left where I could get said aero, and it's gonna be I knew it was gonna come down to a small sprint because this is the last big climb. yeah, it's strung out on the top, but all of the big guys, all of the sort of names that you expect to be here is all in one bunch, and no one has soloed off the front. I think Bibby and Sam Lindsay tried to go off the front over this climb, but you know, to no prevail. So it was going to come down to a bunch sprint with 15 or 20 guys. 20, 25 guys, I think it was in the end. So I wanted to get an aero for that sprint, because you know, you're not going to be beating the likes of John Malden, Steve Young without an aero power up, unless you're doing, you know, 18 watts per kilo. It's just you know, the way the game works, you need an aero power up for the sprint. So I decided to use my feather in order to gamble. And yeah, I'm going to skip ahead now because we go over the top of this climb in a second. Here it is, last little kick before the climb. Do you want to know what we get? Do you want to see what we get? You look there in the top left corner. We got a draft. I thought we got nothing on that one. But yeah, we got a draft, which is for the sprint pretty much pointless. I mean, it's better than nothing. Like it's still better than nothing, but it's not an aero. The best thing for a sprint finish is an aero power up. So yeah, I'm just gonna skip ahead to the sprint because basically, long story short, I used my draft. I had one more chance to get an aero, which was through the Italian village through the sprint banner, and I got absolutely zilch, nothing, not even a feather, not even a draft. I got XP. I kind of accepted my fate that I hadn't got an aero. I skipped ahead now to the final 1.1k actually, where you can see there, this group is around probably about 20 guys. And yeah, my head wasn't really in the right space coming into this, just because knowing that I hadn't, you know, most of these guys are gonna have an aero power up, and I didn't have anything. You never mind. Even a feather's gonna help you in a sprint. Even a feather's gonna help you. But I didn't have anything. So the plan was to just try and stick as far forward with this group as I could. I'm sat up there in 12th place, 17th. I mean, it's jumping up and down, but it's around sort of their top 10, 8th position, and leave it late, which I don't think was the right thing to do. So I'm building here, 400 watts, 500, 600. We get to around, I think I go about 350. So as you can see, everyone's popped an aero, man. I missed the boat on this one, didn't I? I needed an aero. So I started sprinting, you know, I'm happy with my sprint. We're up there at 15.5 watts per kilo, well over 1,000 watts, almost 16 watts per kilo. But you know, you just can't compete. You just physically can't compete with these guys that have the power ups. So, you know, we came across the line there. I was the first person outside the top 10 to make without an aero. Yeah, even Ed Laverat beat me, and he's a climber. He's not a sprinter. That sounded like I was just making excuses for not having an aero power up. I mean, if I ever go to a bike race again without an aero power up, if I ever go to a Zwift race again without an aero power up, I'm going to get absolutely rinsed. But I chose to gamble it. You know, it was all part of my sort of tactics in the race to gamble and to use my power ups on the climbs, like on the main climbs. There's 4 climbs on the circuit today, or two climbs per lap. So 4 in total, there's 2 laps. And I just chose to gamble and use those power-ups on the climbs to make my life as easy as possible in order to try and get the aero before the finish line, and I will have saved the most energy. If I had got one through the final sprint banner, then it probably would have been a different result. And you know, my gamble would have paid off. I would have saved them much more energy than the other guys on the climbs, because they'd been saving their power up for the finish. But that's what I chose to do, and unfortunately today it didn't pay off. Zwift is a game. I was trying to play it in a certain way. In this race, it didn't pay off for me. But you know, the main thing is, the main sort of takeaway from this is we have qualified for the live finals. Time to hit Zwift hard. I'm going to be practicing probably every other day. I'm going to be absolutely perfecting my tactics, perfecting my sort of skill of riding on the game, and hopefully we're going to be in as best shape physically and also in terms of knowledge of Zwift for those live finals in London. And yeah, it should be sick. Be prepared for much more Zwift content coming to the channel very, very soon. But that's it for me for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. It really does help me out, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 p.m. Peace.
I can't lose this time.